Controlling a spotlight with a switch and motion sensor offers flexible lighting options. Here are two methods: firstly, using a double pole switch and motion sensor, and secondly, using an interlocking relay. The first option involves a double pole switch, a motion sensor, and the load, which is the light fixture. The wiring steps are as follows: 1. Connect the line, which is the hot wire, to the line terminal on the double pole switch. 2. Connect the neutral wire to the neutral terminal on the double pole switch. 3. Connect one of the two switch legs, also called the load 1 terminal, to the motion sensor's common terminal. 4. Connect the other switch leg, or the load 2 terminal, to the load's light fixture's hot terminal. 5. Connect the motion sensor's line terminal to the same line terminal used in step 1. 6. Connect the motion sensor's load terminal to the load 1 terminal used in step 3. In terms of operation, when the switch is on, both the light fixture and motion sensor receive power, so the light fixture turns on. When the switch is off, the light fixture turns off, but the motion sensor remains powered and will control the light fixture based on motion detection. The benefits of this option are no backfeed issues, simple wiring, and it allows for precise control of both the light fixture and the motion sensor. The second option uses an interlocking relay. The materials you will need are an interlocking relay, a switch, a motion sensor, and the load, which is the light fixture. The wiring steps are as follows: 1. Connect the line, or hot wire, to the relay's line terminal. 2. Connect the neutral wire to the relay's neutral terminal. 3. Connect one of the switch legs to the relay's control terminal. 4. Connect the other switch leg to one side of the load's hot terminal. 5. Connect the other side of the load's hot terminal to the normally open contact of the relay. 6. Connect the motion sensor's line terminal to the same line terminal used in step 1. 7. Connect the motion sensor's load terminal to the relay's common terminal. The operation is such that when the switch is on, the relay is energized and its normally open contact closes, powering the light fixture. When the switch is off, the relay is energized and the normally open contact opens, turning off the light fixture. The motion sensor remains powered and will control the light fixture based on motion detection. The benefits of this option are that it eliminates backfeed issues and allows for the use of a single pole switch. However, the wiring is more complex, but it provides greater flexibility and control. When choosing between the two options, consider the following. Firstly, complexity. The double pole switch method is simpler to wire, making it a good choice for those with less electrical experience. The interlocking relay method is more complex, requiring a better understanding of relay circuits. Secondly, control flexibility. The interlocking relay method offers slightly greater flexibility, especially if you need to integrate the spotlight into a more complex automation system in the future. Thirdly, the cost of components should be considered. Double pole switches are generally inexpensive and readily available. Interlocking relays may be more expensive and harder to find, depending on your location. Fourthly, backfeed. If you are concerned about backfeed issues, both methods effectively eliminate them. The double pole switch physically isolates the motion sensor circuit when the switch is off. The interlocking relay provides a clear separation between the switch and the motion sensor control. Fifthly, consider the existing wiring. If you already have existing wiring that is difficult to modify, one method might be more easily adaptable than the other. For example, if you only have a single conductor running to the switch location, the interlocking relay method may be more practical. Sixthly, consider energy saving. When the switch is off, the motion sensor continues to consume a small amount of power in both configurations. Consider how often you expect the switch to be off and whether the power consumption of the motion sensor is a concern. Seventhly, safety. Always prioritize safety when working with electrical circuits. Ensure that you disconnect power before working on any wiring. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a qualified electrician. Eighthly, local codes. Ensure that all wiring and installations comply with local electrical codes and regulations. This is crucial for safety and to avoid any potential legal issues. Ninthly, testing. After completing the wiring, thoroughly test the system to ensure that it operates as expected. Check that the switch controls the light correctly and that the motion sensor activates the light when motion is detected. 10thly, documentation. Keep a record of the wiring diagram and component specifications for future reference. This will be helpful if you need to troubleshoot or modify the system later. In summary, both the double pole switch and the interlocking relay methods offer viable solutions for controlling a spotlight with a switch and motion sensor. The best choice depends on your specific needs, skill level, and the complexity of the overall lighting system. Carefully consider the factors outlined above to make an informed decision. Let's delve into a more detailed analysis of each option, starting with the double pole switch method. The double pole switch effectively isolates both the hot and neutral wires when in the off position. This is crucial for preventing any backfeed, which can occur when current flows back through a circuit in an unintended path. Backfeed can cause unexpected behavior in the circuit, such as the light flickering or the motion sensor malfunctioning. By using a double pole switch, you ensure that the motion sensor is completely disconnected from the power source when the switch is off, eliminating the risk of backfeed. The wiring for this method is relatively straightforward. The hot wire from the power source is connected to the line terminal on the double pole switch. This terminal serves as the input for the switch. The neutral wire is connected to the neutral terminal on the double pole switch. This terminal provides the return path for the current. One of the switch legs, also known as the load 1 terminal, is connected to the common terminal on the motion sensor. The common terminal is the point where the motion sensor receives its power. The other switch leg, also known as the load 2 terminal, is connected to the hot terminal on the light fixture. This terminal provides the power to the light fixture. The motion sensor's line terminal is connected to the same line terminal on the double pole switch. This ensures that the motion sensor receives power when the switch is on. The motion sensor's load terminal is connected to the load 1 terminal on the double pole switch. This allows the motion sensor to control the flow of power to the light fixture when the switch is off. When the switch is on, both the light fixture and the motion sensor receive power. The light fixture turns on immediately because it is directly connected to the power source. The motion sensor is also powered, but it does not immediately activate the light fixture unless it detects motion. When the switch is off, the light fixture turns off because it is no longer receiving power. However, the motion sensor remains powered and continues to monitor for motion. If the motion sensor detects motion, it will activate the light fixture. Now, let's examine the interlocking relay method in more detail. The interlocking relay provides a more sophisticated way to control the spotlight. It uses an electromagnetic coil to switch the flow of power to the light fixture. When the coil is energized, it closes a set of contacts, allowing power to flow to the light fixture. When the coil is de-energized, the contacts open, cutting off the power to the light fixture. The wiring for this method is more complex than the double pole switch method. The hot wire from the power source is connected to the line terminal on the relay. This terminal provides the input for the relay. The neutral wire is connected to the neutral terminal on the relay. This terminal provides the return path for the current. One of the switch legs is connected to the control terminal on the relay. This terminal is used to energize the relay's coil. The other switch leg is connected to one side of the hot terminal on the light fixture. This provides a direct path for the power to the light fixture when the relay is energized. The other side of the hot terminal on the light fixture is connected to the normally open contact on the relay. The normally open contact is a set of contacts that are open when the relay is de-energized and closed when the relay is energized. The motion sensor's line terminal is connected to the same line terminal on the relay. This ensures that the motion sensor receives power when the relay is energized. The motion sensor's load terminal is connected to the common terminal on the relay. The common terminal is the point where the relay receives its control signal from the motion sensor. When the switch is on, the relay is energized, and its normally open contact closes, allowing power to flow to the light fixture. The light fixture turns on. When the switch is off, the relay is de-energized, and its normally open contact opens, cutting off the power to the light fixture. The light fixture turns off. However, the motion sensor remains powered and continues to monitor for motion. If the motion sensor detects motion, it will send a signal to the relay, which will energize the relay and close its normally open contact, turning on the light fixture. One of the key advantages of the interlocking relay method is that it allows for the use of a single pole switch. This can be beneficial if you already have a single pole switch installed and do not want to replace it with a double pole switch. Another advantage of the interlocking relay method is that it provides greater flexibility in terms of control. For example, you can use the relay to control other devices, such as a security system or an alarm. However, the interlocking relay method is more complex to wire than the double pole switch method. It requires a better understanding of relay circuits and electrical wiring. It is also important to choose an interlocking relay that is compatible with the voltage and current requirements of the light fixture and the motion sensor. When choosing between the two methods, it is important to consider your skill level, the complexity of the wiring, and the desired level of control. If you are comfortable with electrical wiring and want a more flexible solution, the interlocking relay method may be a good choice. If you are less experienced with electrical wiring and want a simpler solution, the double pole switch method may be a better choice. Regardless of which method you choose, it is important to follow all safety precautions and local electrical codes. Always disconnect the power before working on any electrical wiring. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a qualified electrician. In addition to the two methods described above, there are other ways to control the spotlight with a switch and motion sensor. For example, you could use a smart switch that can be controlled remotely via a smartphone or tablet. You could also use a timer to automatically turn the light fixture on and off at certain times of the day. The best method for controlling a spotlight will depend on your specific needs and preferences. Consider the factors described above to make an informed decision. Remember, safety is paramount when dealing with electrical installations. Always disconnect the power at the breaker before commencing any wiring work. If you're unsure about any step, consult a qualified electrician. They can ensure the installation is safe, compliant with local codes, and performs as expected. When selecting components, ensure they are rated for the appropriate voltage and current. Using undersized components can lead to overheating and potentially hazardous situations. Consider the environment where the spotlight will be installed. If it's an outdoor location, ensure all components are weatherproof and rated for outdoor use. This will protect the wiring and components from moisture, corrosion, and other environmental factors. After completing the installation, thoroughly test the system. Verify that the switch operates correctly, the motion sensor detects movement, and the light turns on and off as intended. If you encounter any issues, double-check your wiring and connections. If the problem persists, consult an electrician. Finally, document your wiring configuration and component specifications. This will be invaluable for future maintenance, troubleshooting, or modifications. A simple diagram or notes can save time and effort down the line. Both methods, when implemented correctly, provide convenient and reliable control over your spotlight. Choose the one that best suits your skills, needs, and budget, and always prioritize safety. Now, let's discuss some potential issues and troubleshooting tips for these spotlight control systems. Firstly, if the spotlight does not turn on when the switch is flipped on, check the following one. Ensure that the circuit breaker for the spotlight circuit is turned on. 2. Verify that the switch is wired correctly and that all connections are secure. 3. Check the light bulb in the spotlight to see if it is burned out. 4. Use a multimeter to check for voltage at the light fixture terminals when the switch is on. If there is no voltage, there may be a wiring issue or a faulty switch. Secondly, if the spotlight only works when the switch is on and does not respond to the motion sensor when the switch is off, check the following one. Ensure that the motion sensor is powered on and that its sensitivity and range settings are properly adjusted. 2. Verify that the motion sensor is wired correctly and that all connections are secure. 3. Check the motion sensor's load terminal to ensure that it is connected to the correct terminal on the light fixture or relay. 4. Test the motion sensor by waving your hand in front of it to see if it triggers the light. If it does not, the motion sensor may be faulty. Thirdly, if the spotlight flickers or turns on and off intermittently, check the following one. Ensure that all wiring connections are tight and secure. Loose connections can cause intermittent power flow, leading to flickering or sporadic operation. 2. Check for any signs of corrosion or damage to the wiring or components. Corrosion can impede the flow of electricity and cause malfunctions. 3. Verify that the voltage supplied to the spotlight is stable and within the acceptable range. Fluctuations in voltage can cause flickering or erratic behavior. 4. If using a relay, check the relay's contacts to see if they are worn or damaged. Worn contacts can cause intermittent contact, leading to flickering. Fourthly, if the motion sensor triggers the spotlight even when there is no motion, check the following one. Ensure that the motion sensor is not aimed at heat sources such as vents or sunlight, as these can trigger false alarms. 2. Adjust the sensitivity setting on the motion sensor to reduce its range and prevent it from detecting motion from far away. 3. Check for any obstructions or objects that may be moving in the sensor's field of view, such as tree branches or flags. 4. If the motion sensor is faulty, it may need to be replaced. Fifthly, if the spotlight stays on constantly, even when there is no motion and the switch is off, check the following one. Verify that the motion sensor's time delay setting is not set to a very long duration. The time delay setting determines how long the light stays on after motion is detected. 2. Check for any wiring issues that may be causing the light to stay on constantly, such as a short circuit or a stuck relay. 3. If the motion sensor is faulty, it may need to be replaced. Sixthly, if the spotlight does not turn off when the switch is turned off, check the following one. If using a double pole switch, ensure that both poles of the switch are disconnecting the power to the light fixture. A faulty double pole switch may only be disconnecting one pole, leaving the light fixture powered. 2. If using a relay, check the relay's contacts to see if they are stuck closed. Stuck contacts can prevent the light fixture from turning off. 3. Check for any wiring issues that may be causing the light fixture to stay on, such as a short circuit. When troubleshooting electrical issues, always prioritize safety. Disconnect the power at the breaker before working on any wiring. Use a multimeter to check for voltage and continuity. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a qualified electrician. Regular maintenance can help prevent many of these issues. Periodically check the wiring connections to ensure they are tight and secure. Clean the motion sensor lens to remove any dirt or debris that may be affecting its performance. Replace any worn or damaged components promptly. Remember that local electrical codes and regulations may vary. Ensure that all wiring and installations comply with these codes. Failure to comply with local codes can result in fines or other penalties. By following these troubleshooting tips and performing regular maintenance, you can ensure that your spotlight control system operates safely and reliably for years to come.